I mean,
the whole thing's for our entertainment.
They're all fucking criminals.
They're all criminals. Hey, it's the Know Nothings podcast.
Hey, welcome in. I didn't know we were going to start so fast.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, guys.
We're already talking about stuff.
Might as well get to it. So we told y'all last time we were going to write a song because it'd be super easy to write a metalcore song.
And I was way too drunk for that.
Mike was way too drunk, and nothing was really going like we thought. It was a lot harder than I thought maybe it'd be. We couldn't just zippity-doo-dah it.
I can zippity-doo-dah it, but look at all of this garbage we have here. I got to have, I had the computer set up. I got to have, everything already plugged in and ready to go if I'm drunk already. I can't be, moving wires and unplugging this and into my other computer and all that.
I didn't realize you were intoxicated till we started.
Oh, man. You know how many? I had, a bunch of these. I'm going for it again.
Yeah.
You didn't know I was intoxicated. I was like, oh, my God, Eddie Vedder's so hot. I'm not intoxicated at all.
Oh, to be fair, so we weren't just we weren't deemed as chauvinistic. I brought up best looking man in grunge and then best looking front man of all time. So
well, I
brought it up. You just answered the question.
It worked.
Yeah,
I think it proved to everyone out there that we're not male chauvinistic pigs.
Yeah. Except my wife, who she only latched on to the part where I said I thought Taylor Swift was super attractive.
See, careful.
I was like, what are we talking about here? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Nothing. I'm like, you seem agitated. She's watching the podcast on the TV.
She was agitated about Taylor
about Taylor.
Oh, she's a fake person. You don't have to worry about her. She's fake. She's not even real, like we just said. None of this stuff's real. Now our president was caught with
classified
documents in a garage where his Corvette was.
After he says, yeah, so go after Trump, as you should. He should be prosecuted. He broke the law. It's clear violation that he took classified documents. So you got Biden on there saying, yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, what's going to happen next? You can't even trust these people with national security secrets. A week later, oh, here's
unbelievable.
And now, and the argument becomes
unbelievable.
They cooperated. Well, they did cooperate with the DOJ, but he's had them for 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
Since he was VP.
Yeah.
This isn't like something he took out of the office.
Yeah, he probably forgot he had that Corvette in storage because he's so old and out there. He probably was like, I have a Corvette? No.
He forgets that no one's over here and turns to shake hands with no one.
Right. Like you said, burn it all down, re-elect new people to screw us over. At least they'll be a little green about it.
Here's what I think, Mike. This will never happen. But what if, just imagine for a minute.
Do I have to do the careful again? Careful.
No.
Careful.
I'm not going to talk about how I think tall, slender people are attractive. I'm just talking about the political system we have, which is absolute horseshit. What if we just started over and removed R's and D's from people's names, and you just had to go there and say, hey, my name's Ray Creasy, and this is what I stand for. And
Perfect.
You didn't put an R or a D. And
Perfect.
And you made it a rule, if someone asks you a question and you're doing a press conference or you're doing a debate, you have to answer the question. If you don't answer the question, you're automatically disqualified. You have to answer the simple instructions.
And not none of this 3 minute. You have 3 minutes to answer the hardest question ever that was just asked you about an entire nation.
Yeah.
Go 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Your time is up. That's ridiculous.
No,
should go as long as it takes.
As long as it takes, but answer the question. You can't say you can't just weave and bullshit your way around it. You can't talk about somebody, how terrible it is that they have classified documents. Then a week later, you get called classified documents, and then people go, oh, well, this is different. This is different.
It's not different at all.
The nuances are a little
the same thing.
The nuances are a little bit different, but overall, if the major problem, which it is a major problem, if the major problem is classified documents ended up outside of the purview of the government and they ended up in the hands of a now private citizen, if that's the problem with one guy, it needs to be the problem with all guys.
Right.
That's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
So, prosecute Trump and prosecute Biden.
Do them both.
If one of them
prosecute a sitting president,
it's not been done before.
I mean, these are impeachable things, right?
100%.
I mean, this is you could impeach someone over this.
100%.
They're not even talk about it.
Because if they talk about it and try to impeach him, they're going to have to. It's going to shine more light on the Trump debacle, right? So then you're going to be forced to talk about that, which they don't. The right doesn't want to talk about that, and the left doesn't want to talk. They're both trying to hope it'll go away. It ain't going away.
It's not going away. Hey, I saw this on TikTok the other day. Somebody was going up to people and reading them quotes, and they would say, "Did Trump say this?" So they would say something, and they're like, "Oh, Trump, 100%," and then they say something else. It was like, it sounded like some racist shit, you know. And it was like, "Oh yeah, that's Trump, 100%." And they were like, "Everything we have told you just now was something Joe Biden has said," and they were like, "What?" Yeah, and it was crazy because like
cognitive dissonance.
They were just
right?
getting them. But like, I understand, like when you walk up to somebody, you're like, "Hey, are these things Trump would have said?" And you say, like, would have said. It's like, yeah, I think
I think they more pose it like, hey, I'm going to read you these things Trump said, and they read something Biden said, and people are like, yeah, that's bullshit. And you're like, well, Biden said, oh, yeah, what's the context of it? I don't know.
Now I want to go back.
Yeah.
I want to go back because you're talking about my guy. Or
you could play
my team. You
could play the same things on both. You could walk up to a Trump supporter and say, hey, I'm going to read you these things that Biden said that are ridiculous. I just want you to laugh at it. And start reading things Trump said, and they'd be like, what a freaking moron. Yeah. You go, well Trump actually said that. They'd go, well, y'all are taking him out of context. Or you're not. That's why I'm saying remove the R, remove the D. Because if you just had to stand on your ideas, why is this so controversial? Or why is this not happening? How did we end up in this bullshit?
I think it's because you have to raise money to do a campaign, and the only way you get money like that to do campaigns and ride around in luxury and all that is to get millions and millions of dollars to do a campaign. And the only people that have that money are people that want you to go, hey, I need you to pass these laws so I can pump some more shit into this river while I'm making pots and pans for Rubbermaid or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole problem with it.
Also, on top of that, remove special interest groups and those types of donors from politics. Just give people a stage. That's it. A stage, lights, a mic.
Well, isn't politics was like that, right?
Yeah.
Now it's turned into this thing.
If I'm running for office,
God, I hate politics. We always end up talking.
Well, it's just part.
But it's part of life now.
We're in our 40s, and it's part of life.
Part of life
like
now.
There's no like I hate politics. I hate politicians. But we can't do a podcast and not talk about the number one story in the world.
Oh well, geez, it even trickles down to our little town where all this stuff's going on in our town with the police jury and
Bucky's.
Is that the
Buseys?
The Buseys. The Bucky's coming into town, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, Bucky's, yay. And then the police jury or whoever decided to, like, well, they're not going to pay taxes for 20 years. And it's like, well, that's everyone that comes into town. We're going to build our big place here. What are our incentives?
Yeah, of course.
They're going to do that. They're going to bring 200 jobs here. So then
jobs, too.
People were happy
Thursday.
Then they were mad Friday. Then they were really mad after the meeting because they got rid of Mr. Postel as being the whatever he was for that thing, and they voted him out. And there's a whole big controversy going on. So politics are real dirty here too.
Rustin Rance has been wild.
Oh, Rustin Rance has been wild.
That page runs amok, man. Rustin.
Oh man.
Did you see The Teacher?
Oh my gosh.
Not The Teacher. Did you?
No, not The Teacher. She's a secretary.
I wish I had it. I know what she said though. She sends a. She texted, apparently.
I think she accidentally texted him that because it starts off with that.
She texted a coach. I think it was a black coach.
Was it the coach black?
Yeah, and she said.
That's what I was wondering.
She said, N-word day tomorrow, and she spelled it with an AR. She didn't know how to spell it.
She didn't spell it correctly.
She made so many grammatical errors in her post, it was embarrassing.
But.
And then she calls him Mark Luther King twice.
Mark Luther King.
This dumb bitch.
So. They screenshot that she lost her job. Well, they let her resign. They didn't fire her.
Yeah, she
which
resigned.
Does no good anyway because she's on the internet saying that now. Yeah, and she's never going to get a job again. I was so mad about this because she works with kids,
black kids
all day, and she's saying that. And
criminal.
Also, Dr. Martin Luther King was bullied by our government and then murdered and assassinated allegedly by our government.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, they sent his all that, and this lady's gonna say that about his day on there. I was so mad. I was so
and
mad
then
about
not
it
even
with
and
her.
then not even know
Fuck
his name,
her.
and then fuck her, and then
Stupid idiot. I'm not even gonna say her name.
and then
because
call
she's such a
and then
bitch.
call him Mark Luther King. And if you did it once, you'd be like, oh, it's a spell. Then she said it again, and then when she realized she sent it to the wrong guy, she's like, oh, sorry, coach. Please forgive me. No, I ain't forgiving you. I'm just gonna screenshot
I'm
this.
fixing to tear you down. Could you? What? Like I said, the gravity of Martin Luther King Day is this guy was the head of this whole civil rights movement, and he got assassinated. And this lady has the audacity to say it's N-word Day.
Yeah,
fuck her.
Yeah,
fuck that lady.
Yeah, you can't. Those people born in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, man, I'm finding
that's brutal.
I find the people in the 70s and 80s were able to adapt and change over time and grow, and I find the people in the 60s and 50s just will not. Am I just putting everybody in a box there? But that's just seems like what's going on in the world. Do you sense that? Like the unwillingness to change at all? Like there's this is who I am, a piece of shit, and I'm staying a piece of shit.
I don't know because my family's pretty progressive.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
so you're not around other people that aren't in your family. You're
no.
not around. Yeah, you just forget. You're just locked in your house.
I'm locked in my house all day working,
not really around.
and I work with my family. So
the boomers just are not. They are not doing anything.
Oh, whenever I see okay, so I'll scrolling through TikTok and you'll catch some like you say boomer Karen who's like, I called the police on y'all, and it's like this black family cooking in the park, and they're like, we're having a barbecue, and they're like, I know, you shouldn't be over here, and it's like, what the fuck is going on with these people?
Yeah.
They're just fucking out of control. When they all die off, I hate to say it, but we're not far behind them dying off.
We're only 20 years behind
20
them.
years behind them, but
the
God damn, would they finally get out of here?
Gen Xers, we were so apathetic and really didn't really give a shit about anything, and then we kind of we were influenced by boomers, and then we were influenced by millennials who were behind, like elder millennials who were behind us, and then
I kind of get it like this.
We evolved. We evolved.
I think boomers gave us a sense of get a job, do your duty. We get that from them.
Yeah.
And also me being born in 79,
you're
almost a millennial. I'm like elder millennial.
You're 2 years from an elder millennial, but you probably have, and I think you have more millennial traits than Gen X traits, probably.
I'm sure,
yeah.
but I get the millennial stuff where it's why does this have to be like this?
Yeah, me too. Oh yeah, me too.
I think everybody gets that, and then you just kind of get beat down.
The boomers don't.
No, the boomers don't get that.
Everything.
You're right. The boomers don't get. Why does it have to be so hard for people to do this?
Yeah.
Oh, money. And then we know why. You follow the money. We know why. Because the money.
They know
why
too, but since they've already lived their life,
they don't want to deal with it.
They live their life. They're like, fuck it, I got mine. I got mine. They're
like, I got my house. I got my 2-story house. I raised my kids here.
I got mine.
It's paid
Fuck
for.
all y'all.
I'm 60 something. It's paid for now. Fuck everybody. I'm gonna sit here till I die, and I'm gonna tell y'all how I feel on the internet.
Yeah.
About all your bullshit.
Yeah. I bought a house when I was 24.
Yeah, why can't you?
Yeah, your house was $36,000. You made $48,000. Now house is $400,000, and a person your age makes $32,000. I wonder why.
Yeah, try living anywhere, and not pay. And you have to spend $250,000 just to be on the better end of town. And that's on the line. That's the line. I'm talking. That's the bottom.
And you're
line.
talking in poor rural areas.
Poor rural areas.
You're not even talking about.
No.
No.
Go to Florida. Anywhere 50 miles, 20 miles in from a beach. Anywhere. You can't afford any of that.
And
afford any of that shit.
I mean, I was as a Gen X. I got lucky too. I bought my first house for $86,000, and I was making $40,000 at 23. It's just I don't even they don't have. I don't know how people can't see that the millennials are the most educated group of people that have ever existed. Okay.
Yeah, and
they did everything they were supposed to do, and they ain't got a pot to piss in. They don't. Neither does Gen X largely. Some of the older Gen X does, and all Gen X got it easier than Gen Z. For us to say that we didn't, how can people just look at truth and be like, no, it was, the boomers would be like, well, interest rates were high.
Well,
They can't. Why can't you see that obviously it was easier?
I worked really hard in my 20s when everybody else was partying.
Me too, but it doesn't make it.
I worked really hard. I drove truck for 15. My 20s are me driving a truck.
Okay, well, do this. What's the difference in you driving a truck in your 20s? What's somebody that drives a truck now in their 20s? Are they making about 60% more than you were?
Well, it also depends on what you're driving.
No, just no. Back to the politic thing. Just answer the question. Like somebody doing your job, driving the same miles, doing the same thing. Are they making 60 to 70% more than you were 25 years ago?
Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
So it's impossible from a financial standpoint that they couldn't have it harder. Let's say they worked every day you worked, every hour you worked, every minute you worked, every mile you drove. They lived your life from 20 to 26. They did the exact thing you did. They would probably make the exact money, if not less, and it's been 25 years. Meanwhile, housing has gone from 125 to 409. If that's not harder,
yeah, you're right.
Healthcare has gone from $80 out of your check to $600 out of your check, and you make the same money somebody made, and nothing else is adjusted for inflation. It's innumerably harder. Somebody doing the same job I did at 23, and I know because I hire those folks now, right? Mm-hmm. So the same job I did at 23, I would hire that person now for the same thing I was hired at in 1999. It's 2023, so 24 years of time went by. Inflation clipped on at a 4.5% to 5% clip, right?
Right.
Extrapolate that over 25 years, you're at, let's say 100% inflation. 100%, but housing's more. It's about 300% or 250%. And incomes stagnate. There's nothing you can do except make more money, work harder, work 3 jobs. It's just harder for a person that's my kids fall into that. I can't look my kids in the eyes and be like, I did this, you should do that. I understand. But it's a different world.
I want to help my
kids
out. I want to help my kids out so bad, but I don't know what to do
to
help them out.
I couldn't really help mine out if I want because I got to help myself.
I'd have to tell my son. I'd have to be like, well, you're gonna have to go to truck driving school because like when I got mine, let's say like 1999, 98, when I got my truck driving
CDL
license. I wasn't even 21 yet, and I had an interstate license, so I wasn't allowed to drive outside of Louisiana. I did anyway,
right?
And I never got caught. But
you're caught now. You just said it.
Well, I'm caught now. Hopefully, there's a statute of limitations on that, right? So anyway, there wasn't a school I had to go to. I just had to study, find someone that had a big truck, drive it, and then go take the driving test. And the written test, and I had my CDL.
So again, easier
because now you have to go to school you got to go to school. It's like $5-6 grand maybe for truck driving school. But some of these bigger but then here's the thing: to haul what we haul, you have to have 2 years of flatbed experience. Well, where do you get that? I don't know. You go to the school and you learn how to do all these things. You come out of the school and you get a job with Swift or whoever. Now, Swift doesn't have flatbeds. Well, I think they do, but they're like, they have flatbeds, but they're owner-operators that have flatbeds. Or like one of these major companies. Actually, some of these major companies would, I remember, I don't know now, but back a while ago, they would pay for your schooling if you signed on with them and worked for them for 2 years.
Right.
And then after 2 years, you would be a free agent. You can go anywhere you want with your CDL and work.
I'm sure some of them still do that.
But you got to get but you got to get like so much experience. Well, they've made it so hard to be a truck driver now. Since I came out of the truck driving and then I was in the office now there's all these points and stuff that go against you if your lights out. If you're driving down the road and there's a couple lights out on your trailer, that's points against you, not just your trucking company.
Oh, really?
And so, like, you get so many points, you lose your license. It's like everything is so regulated, and then now they have like, which I think this is a good thing that happened, to be honest, because it was in the beginning it was like, oh no, this electronic logbook device that's hooked up to like a timer, and you can only drive so long, and you got to take all these breaks and stuff. We thought that was terrible because we were trucking, we were trying to drive and break the law and driving tired and all that. But now with these ELDs, it's so much better because you get to take breaks and sleep and all that stuff. So it's great. And I can plan everybody's trips out better. But like in the beginning, it was like, oh man, these ELDs are going to slow us down, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's way safer to have the ELD. So that regulation I like.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard to get into trucking now. It's so hard. If you weren't in trucking 10 years ago and you want to get in it now, holy shit. You're going to have a hard time.
It's going to be a lot tougher.
It's going to be a hard time.
The biggest part is just really the biggest thing is just the stagnation of wages. It's really a 40-year stagnation since trickle down.
Trucking does pretty good.
Trucking does pretty good.
Trucking does pretty good.
But if someone made 80 in 2000, they should make about 220 now, and they don't.
They don't.
Yeah,
they don't.
And you remember up until the housing crisis of 08, like you.
Yeah, that's nuts because what if you made 250 in 2000? What are you making now? 750. But you don't.
It should be 600 or 700.
Don't you? It's really set up. It is really set up to where, like, you can't pay like a teacher $1 million a year, or they wouldn't want to teach. They want to go on vacation, right?
You don't need to pay a teacher $1 million a year.
I mean, it's kind of set up.
You
can't pay police officers $1 million a year,
right? The whole.
It's too much.
No one's arguing for that. No one is arguing for that.
Well, they need to be paid a little more. I think.
What a police officer could buy a house in 1998.
You should be able to buy a house and raise a family on a wage being a teacher or a police officer, 100%.
Or any wage in America. In America.
Yeah, in America.
In America, we call it, we're like the most prosperous country in the nation, but like people will die because they don't want to take an ambulance ride. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
I don't want to go to the hospital because it costs too much money to go to the hospital, even with insurance. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. The only way I would go. This is why I told Kylie the other day. I said the only way I would go to the hospital is if I passed out or something and woke up at the hospital. I would be at the hospital then, and even then, I may walk out and tell everybody to fuck off. Because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's terrible, and that's not me being macho. It's just me being like, I don't like hospitals or doctors.
Yeah. So
I just don't.
I don't think it would be like, I would never make the argument, pay a teacher $1 million. I'm saying if a teacher made.
Well, that's just way over the top.
Yeah, okay. A teacher made $40,000 in 1999, and now they make $43,144. Well, that $3,000 doesn't quite cover when they could have bought a house for $85,000 or $90,000.
And they're paying off student loans.
Now it's $300,000, right?
And their student loans.
So how does one buy the same house they could buy or the same car they could buy? I bought a truck when I got married, brand new off the lot. Bought a little truck, little Nissan Frontier, which I guess you could probably look up a Nissan Frontier right now. I think they're about $47,000, right?
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot.
I bought my Nissan Frontier, 0 miles, power everything, brand new, still paper around the seats, $11,777.
Yeah. And you're telling me they haven't figured out how to make it cheaper as we go along? You got to realize that, like, it's a total dupe on the car thing because now they put a screen in there with a computer chip. You're not going to tell me that it's more expensive to have a screen and a computer chip than to manufacture dials and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But they still charge you more.
Yeah,
they still charge you more.
All that's kind of coming to a head last year or during COVID 2020 and 2021 when you had that, like, trucks were going for $100,000. Man, the dealers are getting burned. Now they're stuck with all this inventory that no one can buy. Trucks they bought for $60,000, they were going to sell for $75,000. Now people are like, that's a $28,000 truck, right?
Right.
So turnabout's fair play. When things were hard, dealers wanted to throw. I hope they get burned.
Dude, Carvana's selling 2011 Ford Escorts for $14,000 with 70,000 miles on them.
Ridiculous.
And people are snagging them up.
But that will not last. I don't think they aren't snagging them up. You're seeing.
Snagged one.
Did you? You got it for how much? 14?
I don't know. No. I didn't spend that much money on the Ford Fiesta. No way.
Yeah, but 14's a little more reasonable. But I mean, I literally saw F-150s for $90,000 for F-150s. Like,
oh yeah, ridiculous.
It's just everything.
It all comes down to my whole book that I push on every kid that I come across that has a little bit of brains in them that I talk to, and I'm saying you need to read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, it's a good book.
I always push that on every kid that I see.
I read it a long time ago.
I've read it so many times, and I've bought that book probably 10 times and given it away to people 10 times. It's a great book, and it just explains to you a little bit about how money works.
Yeah.
Because they don't do that in high school. They don't tell kids how anything works.
No.
So why would they? They don't want you to know.
Well, you know, and what's unfortunate about that too.
But that book's a great book because he's like, okay, you are going to work for me. You're in high school. You're going to work for me at this place, and I'm not going to pay you anything. And they're like, what? Well, no, screw you. I'm not working for you. And he's like, no, listen. You're going to learn something. And then, because you don't know anything now, why would I pay you? It's like, you're going to learn this, and then after you learn it, then I will pay you. You can go anywhere and get paid now that you've learned it. Now go out there and get paid. Or start your own.
Now you have a marketable
or
skill.
do your own. Now you have a skill. You know, and it just kind of touches on things like that.
There
but
should
it's really
be some
great.
sort of financial literacy really taught, because it's, aside from everything being so out of reach and so out of whack and so crazy, people are, you know, kids are growing up in a time where they think they're going to get out of high school, they're going to go to college, and somewhere before 25 they're going to be making $1 million a year, and that is not, for 99.9% of people, that is not what's going to happen.
Well,
and
you got to remember in the 80s and 90s,
or even if they not
what
deleted,
they sold us, what the
trickle down economics.
the dream they sold us in the 80s and 90s as being a kid.
What's that?
That we were going to be rock star. It's out of Fight Club. They led us to believe that we were all going to be rich rock stars and movie gods, and all, we were going to be movie stars and rock stars, and that didn't happen.
Well, think how the internet's made that crazy, right? Like you have Instagram.
Yeah, now you got influencers.
You see all these
and all
people,
that kind of
and all
stuff.
you see is their Bugattis and Lamborghinis.
Yep.
That could be rented. That could be loaned. That could be their
Yeah,
friend.
it's all
You
a
don't
farce.
know who's got what.
Yeah.
Diamonds.
All I know is from learning from the internet is everybody has a really nicer kitchen than me.
Yeah.
Oh man, these people got nice fucking kitchens.
Yeah, I like my kitchen, but
Holy
I see some
shit.
fly ass kitchens.
Yeah, man.
So it's kind of, there should be a class where you sit down and just explain to a kid, like, look, this is what's really going to happen to most of you.
What if we did this class? What if we could what if we could sell this to parents to send their kids to our class where we sit them down and tell them these things?
Yeah, you take
seriously.
You take a group of 30 students, right? And you go, okay, I need 10 of you to move over here. You 10? All right, so the average income in America is $43,000. We're going to look at what that does in a minute. You 10, you're only going to make $21,000. All 10 of you, you're going to make $21,000. You other 12 move over here. Y'all are going to make the $43,000. Okay? 2 of y'all move over here, you're going to make $100. 2 of you move over here, you're going to make $250. 2 of you move over here, you're going to make $400. 1 of you move to the corner of the room, you're going to make $1 million.
Because you're probably going to be like a small movie.
Somebody in here is a surgeon, or
somebody in here is a surgeon, or maybe makes it into a movie somewhere,
or whatever it is. But if you polled that class of 30 before,
or sports
before, but not really, in a class of 30, there's nobody going in sport. Who? Go get me a class of 30. Let's go.
You're
let's
right.
go to Rustin.
Oh
Let's
my
walk
God.
into class, and I'll say, okay, Mike.
Yeah, you're
show
right.
me the professional athlete, and
You're
then
right, you're
we'll
right.
drive to Shreveport.
Oh my God, you're right.
We'll walk into class, and I'll say, where's the professional athlete? And we'll do that.
But it's a big business telling these kids they're going to be professional
we'll
athletes.
go to 50 schools, and we'll find one if we're lucky.
Yeah, 50 schools.
And that probably wouldn't find one because that's only 1,500 kids. And if you think 1 out of 1,500 are going to be a professional athlete, you're insane. And that's what kids need. And if you think 1 out of 1,000 of you is going to be a movie star, you're insane.
That's
if you
not
think
1
out of 1,000,000.
Oh well, we'll think about this. I was in if I was in 2 movies. Well, I wasn't a movie star, but I was in like I had somebody calling me, putting me in movies.
Yeah.
So I was in I actually made it into 2 big major motion picture movies in the background. But
that paid $50.
No, but
$200.
One of them paid more than that because I got called the same day. It was like a thing. But I'm just saying, like, if I would have kept working at that and those people would have, I probably could have made a living being in movies, and then
a living.
Then there's like a living. But maybe, just maybe, you'd have that one moment where something happens and you end up.
That's why you divide
making a friend or doing something. And you're in a movie.
Sure, and that's exact. But so if you polled all these kids,
but I also lived in the place where they've shot every movie for the past 20 years, which is Griffin, Georgia, which is Atlanta, where they just like Buc-ee's here, they pay 0 taxes to shoot movies there. So they built a bunch of movie studios there.
But if you took a sheet of paper before the class, before you give the financial literacy class, you said write down, and you to 30 high school students, let's say juniors, people that are almost adults and they're getting there. You said write down what you think you'll be making in 10 years when you're 27. I bet you there would not be one sheet of paper that said under 150,000.
Right.
So you need to pull those up and go, okay, our lowest earner thinks they'll be making 275,000 because they're going to own their own welding fabrication company. They want to be a welder, but
they may be on point there with a welding fabrication company. Or a plumber. Those are the only people that make that money.
Those people make
like
that money. The point is, 30 out of no one in there is going to say, I'm going to make 44,000. Although 7 of them are going to major in education. They know they're going to be a teacher. They still won't write that number down because it's too humiliating to write down.
Right.
And then you ask them, well, what are you going to school for? Education. So you're going to be a teacher? Yeah. You wrote 600,000 on your paper. Oh, well, yeah, that's what I
here's the thing. If you like money, you make money. Like, I like money.
Yeah, but
I mean, and I don't necessarily like money. Like, I like money.
Everyone likes money.
Everyone likes money. But what I'm just saying is, like, some people don't. Some people do things to do them. They don't do them to make money.
Everything I do to do except for work.
Everything I do,
if
I
makes
do
money,
to do.
if it makes money on the back end, great. But I do things like this or mess with music or for passion.
But I also I have a lot of passion stuff, and then those passion things though, like what you got to tell those people in that room that are not writing down they're going to make $44,000. You got to tell them that if they have a passion for something, they have to do that in their spare time.
Yeah.
And as they work on that for years, that passion, they become a master at that, and then they can make money at it, hopefully at that passion. But depending on what the passion is. But you become a master. Let's say woodworking or anything like that. If you work on woodworking to make whatever furniture, whatever you're doing with woodworking for 10 years, you're going to be a master at that at the end of 10 years. You will be making things that people will want to buy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that is just life is such a motherfucker because they stick you out here and then you go on the internet now and you look at the things all these people have. They have all these cars and all this stuff. And I see all that and I'm like, man, that's a fucking nice car. And then you think to yourself, man, that's a lot of fucking upkeep for that 10,000 square foot house.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Holy shit. That yacht that guy has
needs $70,000 a month to keep it.
That's a lot of upkeep to have that kind of stuff. And that's not what people think about when they're young. They just see the car, they see the yacht, and they see the house, and it's like that's a lot of upkeep. I'm kind of I kind of keep things small and simple, and I love to live. And in this class, me and you are going to teach these children. I am going to teach them how to budget their ways to where they are living below their means, so they have extra money to go to the Mexican restaurant a couple times a week.
I think you're
100%.
I think you're missing a boat though. I
am getting drunk.
That ship has sailed. The average American makes $44,000 and it takes like $51,000 to live. There is no below your means. You're below your means from the most basic. If you're living the most basic, meager life, you're below your means.
If you make $44,000, can you get food? You get like food stamps? No. Oh, that's brutal.
No, you're not getting food stamps. So your mortgage is $1,500. Your check's $1,160 or whatever, right?
Right.
Okay, your mortgage is $1,500. Basic car to get you to the job's $300 and insurance.
And here lies the problem. Why can't we pay people more money? It's there. The money doesn't even really exist.
Right. It just goes around in a circle. So the people that although I agree with your sentiment of live below your means and all that this becomes a thing at like $100,000, $120,000, $140,000. This is where I make $110,000, but I'm only going to live like I make $65,000. That becomes a thing. Okay.
That's like what I do.
Perfect. Me too.
Yeah.
But we have to I'm dealing with the reality of the world as it actually exists in 2023. I've already lived my life essentially. My kids are grown.
Right. You got a motorcycle.
I have a motorcycle. My kids are grown. I did what I could do.
That's all you need.
And I've got 25 more years to make money before I retire and see how much I can hopefully sock $1 away.
Right.
But I'm talking. So
I'm terrified.
Where is the?
No, this is like
The
this
below
is
the
going to be
means
me.
is tough.
I'm going to be working until I grab my chest and I'm like,
Which hopefully is.
wait! I got to make one more phone call.
You know, it's funny.
I got to make one more phone call. One more phone. Hey, you got to go pick that. You got to pick it up. You got to go. You got to go pick that. And then I'm dead. Yeah. I'm gonna really fight it. I'm gonna really try to make that. I'm gonna really try to make that last phone call.
You're gonna try to not
to make that truck connect to where he's got to go. I'm gonna make that last phone call.
The boomers really got to you.
Yeah, they did. I come from. I actually
they
come
got
from.
your ass. They got me too. I mean,
I come from a workaholic. I come from a workaholic
I'm
family.
A grinder. I wish I wasn't.
My father one time told me that he went to work in a coma. So that's the bar. That's where the bar is set for me. So that's what I do.
I went 23 years without a sick day.
That's awesome.
You think I
went 7 years without a vacation.
Is it awesome?
I went 7 years without a vacation.
Is it awesome? Why are we bragging about that? It's fucking stupid.
It's stupid to brag about. See, that's where the millennial
awesome?
thing comes in. They're like, what are you, a moron? You're supposed to get vacation. It's
Yeah.
like, well, for 7 years, I didn't think I could take one because the whole fucking thing would fall
Everything
apart.
will fall apart if I'm not a part of it. Everything will don't work.
I took my first vacation ever in last December where I didn't answer the phone in 7 years.
I know.
And it was awesome.
I know, but what? So I did. I'm saying, and I went 23 years without one sick day. Never. I would have the flu, 104 fever.
You're working.
I'm working.
You're working. I'm working too.
That's ridiculous.
I was driving a truck.
No one's given me anything extra
I was
for doing
driving a truck with the flu and throwing up in a bucket while driving down the road. Do you think that's safe? No.
But
I was driving a truck and grabbing a bucket and throwing up in it and setting it on the ground and driving.
I think we made critical errors setting that making. I think as a generation, Gen X made critical errors because we all have that in us. We all made boomers, and the silent generation believed that this was the thing that all their minions would do forever.
Yeah.
Because we were like, we're supposed to die for you because we believed hard work pays off, and it does to some extent, right? You do get there are like
here's the funny thing about hard work pays off is,
but not really.
Hard work pays off when you're
not
making
like you
100 to 150. 200 250 you don't work as hard. 450 to 750 you don't do any kind of physical labor. Anything over that, the money just starts rolling in.
Then you can't spend.
There's no, but the hardest working, dick in the dirt guys are $20,000 to $44,000.
Where do you think in 2023 America middle class actually starts? I have a huge debate on this. This is a huge. So the government,
$100,000.
I'm saying I'll say household income. So, but the government says it starts at like 48,000.
That's ridiculous.
That's poverty.
That's poverty
for a household. If you're a single person with a roommate, you're
seen how much eggs are?
Yeah,
fuck 40
eggs, cars, homes. But those are okay. So you do use eggs, breads, houses, and cars. The four things almost everyone has to have.
The funny thing is people say, oh, well, if you live in a big city, then you don't have to have a car. But it's like, well, if you live in a big city, you're paying exorbitant amounts of rent.
$4,200 for my.
And you're paying in rent and also taxes. And also, why are you living in a big city? Do you have a big education, or are you working in one of these big skyscrapers?
Well, you don't have to.
Then what are you living in a big city for? Man, so it's all built in. Everything's built in to make
the boomers. Why you can't live in it? So you can't live in a city unless you work in one of the big buildings. I don't understand that.
That's true. Yeah, go to it. You want to live in Atlanta? Do you move to Atlanta?
I'm saying, why would I have to? Why would I only
live inside the Beltway?
Why would I only have to be allowed to live there if I worked in one of the big buildings in banking?
Because you can't afford it. You couldn't afford it.
Well, I know, but that's crazy. You ought to be able to afford it.
No, you gotta commute.
So that
you gotta live in the suburbs and commute.
So
you and your wife have to have $150,000 jobs to commute into Atlanta to work.
So roll it back.
Try to live in Atlanta. I know. I'm pissing you off. Just listen to me.
I'm listening.
Everybody that lives in Atlanta that's not out in East Point or over here that are bad areas, they're all lawyers and they're all doctors. That's all. They all live there. Or they're musicians or whatever. You live inside of Atlanta, it's super expensive, even in a normal house.
So that's going to bring me to the question, where does middle class start? And you just answered it. 300,000.
300,000.
300,000, according to you, to be the bare level of sustenance in Atlanta. Not New York City.
And that's driving into the city.
So I'd say, so for me, I think middle class, everyone thinks they're middle class, and they're not.
They're not.
It's probably 225, 250,000, honestly, is real middle class. Let's call them what middle class looked like in the 50s or the 60s. In 2023, you need to be 250, 225,000 to equal the same. I'm not talking about, this is not like entitled speak for the Gen Z or the millennials. I'm saying for them to live, or for me, or for you, anyone to live the same life somebody lived in the 50s, you'd make 225, 250. That's really middle class. But they're trying to sell you that 48 is middle class for a household, or 61,000 for a household. 61,000 for a household, you're barely making it. That's not what middle class looks like. The middle class looks like 3-2 brick home or condo, wherever you want to live, but a nice, let's say what a 3-bedroom, 2-brick house cost, a station wagon or a Yukon for mom. A
Yukon? Holy shit.
No, that's not holy shit. A Lamborghini's holy shit. A Yukon's a basic.
A Yukon is $70,000.
Which is a basic SUV in 2023.
Holy shit, that's a lot of money for something that doesn't make money.
So to be middle class, right?
Yeah, okay.
So middle class. So people are like, everyone thinks they're middle class, and it's like we're all kind of not.
Yeah, and there's a whole pride thing.
Yeah, there's a whole pride thing.
There's a pride thing involved in that, and yeah.
You think because people think like because for 100,000 is a good wage, or 110,000 you've kind of made 150,000 you've kind of made it, because we heard in 1987 that $100,000 was good money, because it was in 1987. It's
well, I'm depressed. I'm depressed.
So I think if you took America, you'd really look at like, you wouldn't have say 60 or 70% of the country would be middle class. You actually have about 2 or 3% of the country, maybe one, that's actually middle class. They can have a house, they can have 2 cars, they can go on a couple vacations.
Can you look it up?
And yeah, and I'm talking. And when I say
look it up on there, and we'll pull it up on the thing because I want to pull up the.
And when I say vacation, I don't mean you charged it on your credit card and went from 23,000 in debt to 29,000 in debt, right? I'm talking about you paid for the vacation and went on it. Like,
oh yeah,
our parents did not max out credit cards to go see a concert.
No.
If you want to go think about this. So
Adele. Adele.
Let's say this. It's 19.
How much for Adele tickets?
30 grand.
30 grand. Who do you think that's for? The Kardashians?
Well,
30 grand?
30 grand. So let me just look at this.
For tickets? For 2 tickets?
So in 1979, you could go see Van Halen opening for Black Sabbath for $8.50.
That's right.
$8.50. You could go to, let's go in 1990. I saw a thing the other day in 1991. They're asking Kurt Cobain. Have you seen this interview about ticket prices? So him and Chris Novoselic are sitting there, right? And the interviewer goes, "Hey, what do you feel about people charging as much as $50 for concert ticket?" This is 1991, folks. This isn't 1931. They go, they're asking Nirvana now, who's the biggest band in the world at this time. They had just come out with Nevermind. What do you think? What do you think about people charging $50 up to $50 for concert tickets? And Kurt Cobain goes, "What?" He goes, and he looks at Creed, goes, and he looks at the interviewer, and he looks back. He goes, "Are people charging $50? Who's charging? What do we charge for our show? Who's charging $50?" And they go, "Well, Madonna just got $50 for concert tickets, and Michael Jackson got $50 for concert tickets." He's like, "This is outrageous." He's like, "What are we charging for tickets?" He finds his manager. He's like, "What do we charge for tickets?" And he's like, $17. And Kurt Cobain, $17. And Kurt Cobain's like, "We're charging $17 to kids to see our show?"
That's too much.
And he's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Okay." He's like, 50? Holy shit.
17's too much.
Yeah,
people probably thought it would charge like $5.
He was thinking like, yeah.
Yes, the ice.
He was thinking 17 is crazy. So in 1991, 100,000 was a lot of money because you could go see Nirvana for $17, or if it was just a few years prior, you go see Black Sabbath and Van Halen for $8.50 at Madison Square Garden.
It's ridiculous. At Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Or like the Atlanta Motor Speedway, $8.
So what are we gonna do about this?
And now
Nothing.
they
Are
want
we gonna
30
do nothing about it?
And now we wanted to go see Pantera and Metallica. It's like $1,200.
I ain't going. I said I would pay whatever, but I'm not. Okay, so here's the thing.
It's crazy.
In Florida, that deal in Florida that we want to go is still expensive, but it's what is it? What did I say it was?
$489.
$489 for 2 people.
One person,
And that's the VIP.
That's the VIP. Well, that's not bad. But it's a long way from $17.
And we have a place
Unless
to stay.
So you would have to show me where wage growth. That is let's call it from $20 to $200 is 1,000% increase, right? So wage growth would have to be 1,000% to keep up with entertainment. It had to be 300% to keep up with housing and 600% to keep up with milk. 400% to keep up with bread. Bread's like $4.25 for a loaf of goddamn bread. Should be a nickel.
Well, like 18 eggs is what? $12.
$100. I don't know.
18 eggs is $12 right now.
My wife sent me to get eggs, and I went and got, and I looked at them, and I was like, or I was shopping, and we were gonna get, and I was like, I texted her, like, I'm not getting eggs. I was like, I refuse to pay this much for eggs. Like, I'll die. But I just never eat an egg again.
I love eggs though. We got a whole thing full of it. I love eggs.
I know. My principles just kicked in too hard on. I cannot do $6 or $7 for a dozen eggs. Crazy.
That's crazy.
I don't know. What are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it, folks? Somebody's got to do something.
What are we gonna do about it?
How about maybe we could stop worshiping billionaires for a little while?
Maybe
they can have money.
Maybe we need to stop buying a certain thing at a certain point and just work on that.
So that's what eggs got to that point.
So we all just stop buying eggs.
Cars got that when 2020, 2021. I was no possible way if I would have needed a new truck. Am I paying?
We don't need eggs.
$65,000 for a truck.
We don't need eggs right now.
You bought a truck during COVID. Did you overpay for it?
No, I didn't.
You got
actually.
a good deal?
Well, I had a truck that I traded in. They gave me a sweet deal on my truck, and they had sold my truck before I even got it to the lot.
Oh yeah, because that was back in the days until you were getting so much for the trade in there.
Yeah, I was getting so much for the trade in. I paid it off and actually put a pretty sweet down payment on the truck I was buying. Also, back to Robert Kiyosaki, I buy trucks that make me money. I have a little deal where I make money with my pickup truck.
Yeah.
So I don't buy because I could go buy a Corvette and I could budget in $900 a month for a Corvette. That doesn't make me any money. It just makes me look cool to high schoolers, and I don't give a fuck about that.
You
cool know what I mean?
I'd like you to have a Corvette. I like riding around your vet.
Well, it would be cool.
But
I don't need it. I don't need it because I only buy things because I read Robert Kiyosaki. I only buy things that make me money. That's it. It makes life way easier. That truck pays for itself. It pays for itself every month.
Yeah. But everybody's not going to be able to purchase a vehicle that makes them money because everybody's not going to be involved in the transportation of items.
True that, but that's where being super smart, because I'm super smart, comes into play. Because I can do it.
Yeah.
I read those things when I was younger. So young people need to read these things and move their life in those directions. You see what I'm saying? Number one thing that can't be everything in the future. I'm going to give it 20 years. Mm-hmm. They're already doing it like Taco Bell, McDonald's, where you walk in and you order on a screen. Mm-hmm. Everything's going to be automated in 20 years.
Correct.
Everything.
AI is going to be everywhere.
It's basically you're going to go to McDonald's and it's a vending machine.
And transportation's the same way.
And transportation's the same way. Not the transportation that I do.
Maybe.
Yeah, it can't be. It's impossible.
You can't put it in a truck that's automated?
No.
Why?
Because you have to have somebody that chains it down and knows how to chain it down perfectly and all that kind of stuff. It's all my lifetime.
You would have a driver in the automated cab though.
Yes, you would have a driver in the automated cab that would have to deal with the chaining down and the making sure
like you would have a.
And then he would go sit in the cab and it would drive where it needs to drive.
You could sleep or whatever.
And yeah, you could sleep, read a book, watch TV.
Just like you'll have a maintenance guy in the McDonald's.
Yeah, a maintenance guy in McDonald's. Same thing.
But all those, but
let me just finish this. What was I saying?
You were saying all the places
okay, so like if things that aren't going to be automated, that if I was 18 years old right now, graduating high school, and I had a clear head on my shoulders, and I was listening to somebody, which you never do,
No,
which is
never.
the problem of youth.
Yeah.
They never listen. That's the problem of youth. You got to figure that shit out on your own.
You gotta
I would
take some bumps.
immediately go to a school that taught me how to do plumbing, because plumbing is not automatable. You can't automate a plumber unless you had a robot that moved exactly like a human being.
But then you have like the 96% of people that don't have any desire to be plumbers. Should they just go be a plumber because of some capitalist?
I would be a plumber if I knew that was the only job I could have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're so programmed to believe that that all of this is about jobs. All of this stuff we're doing is about jobs. And
What else is there? Oh, that's my Gen X. That's my Gen X.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole point. That's the whole conversation. There's so much. Why are we all?
What are we gonna do? We all gonna dance on TikTok and make money? No, I don't dance well.
Why does everything have to be about money? Why does everything have to be about money?
That's also true. That's the millennial thing. That's the thing we said.
That's the argument I'm making. Like, no, the person doesn't want to be a plumber. Well, and that's fine. Why does everything have to come back to money?
Because that's capitalism.
Well, I know, but that's the whole point of blowing up capitalism.
But do you want to blow up capitalism?
No, I want to revise it.
Revise it.
Revise it. It's not worked. It's only worked for a few.
It's worked now. It's worked up until now, and I think there's too many people now. Well, because now,
you know, it's doubled in your lifetime.
What?
The population doubled.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is, like, people started working at McDonald's and Dairy Queen and all these places that weren't entry-level workers, that weren't 18, 19, 20-year-olds going to college and working there. Grown people, because there were no jobs, started working these jobs, and assholes would say, well, those are entry-level jobs. Of course you're not going to make $20 an hour. It's an entry-level. It's for kids. And it's like, well, the kids don't want to work, but you need to work, so you're kind of caught in a catch-22. While and you of all people know, because you're in that industry, is it a job for an entry-level person, or should it be a job that has a family, a wife, a dad working at a fast food restaurant?
It wouldn't matter. Well, we've moved. First of all, we've moved from a manufacturing economy to a service-related economy. Therefore, there obviously has to be more value on service-related jobs because people demand all these things in their lives. The second thing is an entry-level wage.
I hear that.
An entry-level wage should always be an entry-level wage. The only argument on minimum wage is that minimum wage should still, a 40-hour worker, whatever you're doing, raking leaves, making hamburgers, lifting weights, whatever you're doing for 40 hours for someone else's benefit, should pay someone enough to maintain a bare sustenance of life. That means a basic apartment, basic transportation, food, clothing, shelter with, this is a big one, no interference or help from the government. The employer should provide that. Anyone who could not provide that should not be allowed to operate a business in the United States of America, which is the most prosperous country on earth.
Hear, hear.
Third thing, and the most important thing, if those jobs were only, if all minimum wage jobs across the globe were only meant for teenagers, why in the fuck do you open those businesses between the hours of 8 and 3? And who the fuck's supposed to work them?
Right.
You want breakfast, and you want lunch, and you want to go to the bank, and you want to do a transaction at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and you want the secretary to be there, but they're all for teenagers learning to work. But the schools are open, and you force every teenager into the school. So let's say there's 7 million entry-level jobs in America operating between 8 and 3. And I don't even know what the number is. It's probably way more than 7 million. But let's say it's 7 million. You're making the claim that it's for a kid. Where's the kid?
In school.
But why he's not here? That you made the job for
or
him?
In college.
I thought you made this job for the kid.
Right. Well, I was just saying.
I thought
that's
made the
what
job
they say.
for the kid. I know. I'm making the counterpoint to what.
Right.
You made the job for the kids, or society. We made the job for the kid, allegedly. That's not what we made it for.
Right.
If we'd made it that way when they introduced minimum wage, they wouldn't have said any business that exists in America should pay their workers a bare sustenance. And when I say a bare sustenance, I don't mean just enough to get by. I mean a normal standard of living in the United States. That's what the proposal says in the Minimum Wage Act of 1938. How does everyone miss this?
That's crazy. You just nailed it down. That's gonna be a good clip.
Well,
You're going viral, son.
I don't know. I just don't know how. I don't know how.
How you're gonna spearhead this whole thing? We're gonna make it right.
Well, I hope there's a bunch of people. I think there's a great awakening around the world of a bunch of stuff. You know, it's not about being entitled for someone to say. I don't see how someone could say a young person is entitled because they say, I'd like to be able to sit in electricity and also have a sandwich today. I don't see how is that like, where is the entitlement of that? They're not saying, and the other stupid ass argument they make, this one really fucks me up when they're like, well, EMTs only make $15 an hour, or these people only make $17 an hour, and you're going to pay a burger flipper $15 an hour. Why doesn't anyone ever say, hey, you're only fucking paying EMTs $15 an hour.
Right.
Go after the companies and say EMTs should be making $40 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's what an EMT. Why does that? It's all about making poor people fight with other poor people,
right.
So the super rich people
Exactly.
can take all the money. It is not about black and white. It's not about Democrat and Republican. It's about rich, and when I say rich, I mean elite rich. Mm-hmm. It's all about elite making poor people, which could be anyone under $500,000. Poor people fight with really poor people,
right.
And make the really poor people the enemy. That guy making $7.25 an hour, he's a bad guy. Let's say he made some bad decisions in life. Let's say he got arrested when he was 22. Let's say he fucking robbed somebody because he was on drugs. Now he's sober. He's 31. He wants to be an adult. He wants to be a functioning member of society. But we're going to punish him. We're going to make it where he can never live because he didn't work as hard as me.
Even if he gets a minimal amount of schooling.
Is that the society we want?
No.
Well, then why do so many people advocate for that society?
It's funny because like the people that make $10,000 more than this person and the people that make $10,000 more than that person
all want to feel superior.
All want to feel superior to the person that's
it.
making 20
that's
making 10 more than that guy.
Because
I have this.
You
got that, and they ain't got shit.
You're a guy that makes $50,000 or $60,000 or $80,000.
We're fighting.
There's always be a group of people that you got to feel super like that makes you because you know you ain't shit, right? We all know we ain't shit. If we really think about it,
Got shit.
You really do a deep.
We really don't have shit,
and we ain't shit. We're just a speck in the dust, right?
Right.
But most people want to believe, so you gotta believe that like this fucking person is poor because they're dumber than me and they're not as driven as me and they're just not me. Dude, come on. It's crazy. You're barely making it and you want this person to just barely make it. Why aren't we just like a rising tide lifts all boats type of thing? Like if everyone did better, that's better. And it's not about there's more money to spend too. That's the other thing that gets missed. It all comes back to the business. The business will make less money. I've never once heard someone go, not one time have I heard someone say, hey guys, have y'all ever thought about if we give the CEO a $87 million bonus, that could really impact our bottom line? Never once. Never once. And they get all the $50,000, $60,000 people on their side.
Right.
Be like, yeah, hey, fight. Tell these people if they.
Well, it's kind of like the Trump thing, right?
We
all root for this billionaire. We got people making $44,000 a year saying, "Oh, this billionaire is going to do right for us."
Yeah, he's like
because we feel special.
Because I feel special. It's all
feel special now.
It's all about feeling special.
I'm over the feeling special thing.
Yeah,
I'm over that. I've figured that all out.
It takes a while though.
It does take a minute. But look, all through my 20s, I was making really good money working for myself, driving a truck, owning my own truck, and I bought everything. I bought cars. I bought a house. I bought all. We went out and ate every day, 3 meals a day. I mean, we ate 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
I blew so much money. I bought Hummers and fucking car. I bought all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And then at the end of all that, when I grew up a little bit, I thought, oh my God, if I would have kept like 20% of the money I made in my 20s, I'd have such a nest egg right now that nobody could touch me.
Yeah,
like it would be ridiculous. I gotta have some kind of fuck you money where I'd be like, if I need a loan, I go to the bank and I go, hey, I want to get a loan for this. Here's the money for me. Because all basically getting a loan for when you're rich to the bank is, you go to the bank and you say, I don't need this loan, but I'm going to put up the money I could use that's mine to get the loan from you because I don't want to use my own money because I could buy it, but I don't want to use my own money, so I'm going to pay you a little bit of interest to loan me the money to pay for it. So you go to a bank to get loans like that to say I don't need your money, but I'm going to use your money instead.
The deal when you're
pay for it.
The deal when you're elite rich is when you get super wealthy, you never spend
Self-insured.
You never spend earned income. They don't spend a nickel of earned income. Anything they earn goes back into investments, right? And then you use that, like you said, to leverage loans or leverage other things. And that's the secret. They keep all of their earned income, 100% of their earned income, then they just borrow against their equity.
You can have if you had $500,000 right now, liquid in a bank, you could buy whatever you wanted right now with a bank.
Of course.
As long as you paid it back. And if you didn't, you would just use the money off of that to pay it back if you fell on hard times or whatever. But with how many people do you think have $500,000 cash in the bank?
Let's see.
Not a lot of people I know.
Not a lot. No actual cash. Not
actual
like,
cash, like
not
liquid,
like land or homes,
liquid,
cars. Yeah,
liquid.
Not that many, I bet.
Not that much.
How many people have $500,000? Let's see. I don't have $500,000. I would hope to have at least that much by the time I retire, but boy, it seems harder and harder and harder to get there. It doesn't. I can't find the answer to how many. Okay, less than 4% have saved 200,000, so that helps you out right there. Less than 4% have saved 200,000. I couldn't find the answer on.
What was it?
Less than 4% have saved 200,000 of all Americans.
What now? Say it again.
Less than 4%.
Less than 4%
have 200,000.
Have 200,000.
So probably 1% have 500,000.
Probably less than that.
But if you took a poll, it'd say 72% because they'd all lie.
They'd lie.
People would lie.
People want to make like they're big times.
Everyone's people because they're so brainwashed that this is everything.
Right.
Like
everybody wants to say I'm better than you because I've got this more than you, and they will go to the polling booth and vote for that.
It's just
they'll
like
do it.
It's like thinking it's like thinking literally you make $30,000 or $40,000 more than someone that you have any real leverage on that person or you have any superiority to that person. It's so minimal, but that's what they want. They want you fighting. And then you make the wrong people the enemy. Same thing with like immigration.
Well, we've
right?
said it 100,000 times. Is everybody up here that has all the money breaks us all up into groups: religion, the color of our skin,
income,
the money we make, all that stuff. So we fight amongst ourselves.
Now fight.
Instead of going, hey, you guys got all the money. We want we want at least something that you got.
Like what's that movie with?
Why are we toiling in the dirt while you all are, buying $30,000 tickets to see Adele?
It's a royalty class, and then the rest of and it's getting really bad. I mean, if you start looking around and paying attention and like just looking at things and kind of looking at the world a little different.
Let's burn it down. Let's burn it down.
Well,
let's do it. No,
I'm not advocating that.
I'm not advocating that.
I figuratively speaking.
Figuratively.
I'm saying we have 60 to 80 good years left. If we don't reverse course.
I think it's 20.
I think the good years are over.
I think in our lifetime we're going to see a huge uproar. You know why I think
China's going to fall.
Think about millennials. They got a bad deal.
They did.
They got a bad deal.
Yep.
Gen Z is going to be worse. They're going to be piled into houses trying to pay rent with 10 people.
Oh,
right?
My God. Yeah, that's what I think.
So at that point, what happens where somebody goes, fuck this, we need to march.
Yeah.
And they're going to march on something.
It's like
it's going to happen.
What's that?
We're too old to do it because we've got our little piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Just like the
boomers did.
We got our little piece. and we're like, well, I'm just gonna ride this out till I'm dead. I'm living comfortably. But these people are living 10 apiece in a house.
And plenty of Gen Zs are
they're tired of it.
They're gonna get their piece too, but not enough of them. Millennials own so little wealth.
Here's what happens. Here's what's gonna happen. You know, it's like what that guy said. He said that you'll own nothing, and you'll be happy about it.
Yeah.
That guy that runs like the New World Order, blah blah blah, whatever. He said you'll own nothing and be happy because they're gonna try to sell this like thing to these kids, the video game thing where you put the thing on and you're in a mansion, but you're living in a box.
Like the metaverse?
Like the metaverse. They're gonna sell this to them to where they can have all this stuff in the metaverse and live whatever they want in the metaverse and not in the real world. But while everybody in the real world's getting taken, well, they all are rich.
Didn't the metaverse kind of bust though?
It's coming back in a major way. I'm gonna tell you.
I thought it was kind of a bust.
It's kind of a bust, but it's gonna come back in a major way.
I was theorizing what you're theorizing like a year ago, but now then I was like,
I was doing that thing there too. But I still think that's the plan. I still think the plan is to everybody lives in a box, but they also can do whatever they want as long as they put these goggles on. You can have sex with whoever you want to. You can live in a massive mansion in the metaverse. You can do whatever you want during that, but not in the real world. They're going to sell it. Think about it. They're going to sell it to the younger generation. You can have,
they'll be so depressed. They're looking for any out.
They're looking for anything. And think about how awesome video games are when you're just playing them like this. Once you put like a thing on your head that puts you completely like what we're doing right now.
But you don't
real
think
world,
I don't think people are really. I don't think people are really going to want to live like that. So I don't think it's going to work.
You're thinking on our generation. You're not thinking about the 15-year-olds right now and how they feel.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can because we're in our 40s. There's no way you can think how they think.
I can't.
They've grown up with all this technology and also Oculus and all this stuff that's already here. I was dreaming about Oculus stuff when I was a teenager, like, I can't wait till that happens. And I own one, and I barely use it. You know why I barely use it? It's awesome, but I barely use it. But it's because, like, it's cool. But the younger generation.
You think enough of them though, where it would be like 50%
the younger generation is
going to
sell it to where they're going to be working in those things. They're going to be living their lives in those things. It's going to happen. It's going to be a prison for your mind. It's a prison for your mind.
I feel
That's what they're going to do.
I just feel like there's been a bit. There was a shift somewhere. 2012, there's some kind of shift. Like things are different. The world is so different. I can't put my finger on it. But we've talked about it.
I know.
It's just different, man. Shit's different.
I actually had something to tell you about it, and I can't remember it right now, so I'm not even going to try to remember it. But how like
I wish you could remember.
We're not even in like where we lived. Like this isn't the universe we lived in. It's completely different.
We crossed.
It's so messed up, and like something happened the other day where I was like, oh my god, I should have texted you like right then and told you about it so I could pull it up and remember it. But it was just like, oh my god, this is like so not like the vibe of me growing up and being in a place where people treated each other the same way.
Yeah.
This is so crazy the way people treat each other now.
Everything's different.
It's so odd. It's like the oddest thing.
But do you think the trees look different and like,
everything's different. The sun is different. The way the sun goes across the sky to me is different.
You know how? Do you remember,
for real?
Do you remember when we were like kids and teenagers and you'd wake up and hear like birds chirping and stuff?
Yes.
When's the last time that happened? It's
been a decade. It happens here, but it's because they're being loud and annoying.
I just remembered like it was like I used to always hear that, and then I was like, and I live in the middle of a pasture, and it's like I just don't hear that anymore.
No, it's more or less like I force people to be nice to me.
Yeah.
The way people used to be nice in my universe. Like I say, "Hey, how you doing?" I hold the door for people. I take the extra 5 seconds and hold a door for someone to let them go through no matter who they are. Like I do all those things and people react really strange to those things.
They're not used to it.
Like people react differently to that.
So I don't know how I feel about the the only reason I don't with the universe shift thing is because I think I'm not smart enough to articulate in a way that doesn't make me sound crazy, and no one really is smart enough to articulate in a way that doesn't make them seem crazy. But something happened. If you're telling me this is the same world that existed in 1995, I just can't believe it. It's not true.
That is not true. It is not the same
world.
Even
if you watch like a video of people with those like, and you watch a video from the 80s or 90s or 2000s, and it's like even the 2000s, it's like, God, that was a different. Everything's so just different.
I watch movies.
Something happened. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know.
There are also things where, like, Kylie's really good at, like, picking out great movies to watch all the time. And I'll be like, I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah.
This movie, and I should have. It's got everybody I like in it, and I've never heard of this movie ever. But how would I have never heard of all these, like, Judd Apatow movies?
But we would hear about every movie with a big star back then with no internet.
Oh, no. This is like a 2000, 2010. It's like all these movies. I like never heard of these.
But
movies
I'm saying
before.
in the 90s, when the 90s or early 2000s, and a big movie comes out, we all heard about it, and there was no internet.
Right.
And now there is the internet, and we don't even know about.
We don't even know. There's too many.
There's too many. Is that what it is? There's too many.
No, I think that. No, I'm talking about like movies from back then. I'm like, I never saw this, and this is great.
Do you think the universe is merging? Do you think that's why the boomers are having such a hard time adapting? Because they say some people did not make the switch over, which I don't. That's where I don't get smart enough to understand.
Do you think that it was CERN? Do you think the CERN collider fucked everything?
I mean, if I hooked up to a lie detector test, yes, but I don't know how to say that without sounding crazy.
I don't either, but I really think when they hooked CERN up,
it had something to do with something.
Those things together.
It had something to do with something, right?
Bashing all those things together at light speed or whatever they're doing over there.
It has something
that goes through 4 different countries. 4 different countries. They're shooting shit together in black. That's got to do something to reality, right? It's got to.
It did
and I think it did
because it ain't the same. What do y'all think? Y'all think it's the same? Shit, I don't think it's the same.
I don't think it's the same. And the bummer is like people that are younger than us don't know what we're talking about.
They don't know what we're talking about. And people who are older than us don't know what we're talking about.
No.
There's like a specific group of people aged, I don't know, 28 to 50.
I will just tell you this. When I will tell you, and I think I've said this before, the moment I realized this was election night when Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were going head to head. And I went to sleep thinking Hillary Clinton won. And I woke up at 5:30 in the morning and Donald Trump had won. That is when I thought that like something, I think, and you have one that's earlier than that. Mm-hmm. But that's when I noticed like, hey, something's really odd.
Something's different that day.
Something's different. That's when I noticed
can't
something
pinpoint
was
mine
different.
like that. What was you were talking? What is? I can't remember what it was. There was something that you said that I said at some point that happened.
You did, but it was like 2011 or something. 2012.
What was the event?
But also 2012 is when the Mayan calendar ran out.
I know. What was the event? Do you remember what the event was? That I can't remember.
I don't remember what it was that you said.
I just know that somewhere around that time, around 2012, I started kind of having this little thing. I was like, something. It feels weird. Like it feels weird when I talk to people. Some people, not all people. Some people I feel like I don't know anymore, and some people I didn't know that well. I feel like I've known forever, and people in family functions feel different, and like food tastes a little different, and the forks look different.
Yeah.
And
like
and the house
that's
looks
what you're saying.
Different.
That's what you were saying was like there are people I know now that aren't the same person that are completely whacked. That are completely off the rocker of what they thought before.
Yeah,
and that's what we were talking about.
Or not even off the rocker. Sometimes some people
just completely
some people
different
I still
person.
like, but I'm like, this feels like it doesn't feel like the same. Or I don't feel like the same.
They had like different views, like immediately different views, different ways of thinking, and you knew these people for years.
Yeah.
And there was like a certain moment in time where that did happen. You may be on it on like the 2011, 2012.
That's what I think it was.
Like I think that like you may be on that because there were a lot of people that I knew
before then,
very close to me. I'm not gonna talk about them, but like they completely changed who they were. And I was like, do we need to get your head scanned?
Same,
you know?
Yeah, same type. That's weird.
But. Who knows with all the
but it can't just be that all that happened to so many people collectively. Are we having Is it a thing where we're all kind of saying this, so we're kind of like, yeah, fuck, I feel different too, and enough people are saying, but then some people are like, see, some people will say, I know exactly what you're talking about, and then a lot of people will say,
you're just getting older,
or
you're just getting older,
yeah,
and people change, and you're getting older.
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah, but people change.
No. There's a whole different vibe when I go to Walmart and walk around and smile at people now than 10 years ago.
Oh, 13 years ago.
13 years ago. 100% different vibe of people. How they, not even the vibe, the fucking lights.
Go to a bar.
Looks.
The way the bar smells is a little different. The way the stage looks is a little different. Everything.
The fact about how I feel about music now, like the things that I do, and it's affected me personally. Like, it's affected me personally about who I am, the things that happened, like, and how I deal with, like, what I do, because I totally have ways that I did things, and they're completely different now. I melded with something or something.
Do you think most people think about this kind of shit or not? Or is it just us?
I don't think.
I don't either, because I can't.
I don't think a lot of people do.
I can't really bring this kind of stuff up to, like, almost anyone. Like,
right.
I can really only bring it up on a podcast.
I'm just going to say that it's a different world we're living in.
Something, yeah.
100%.
Something's different for show.
Maybe we'll get into it next time.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all.
All right, bye.